It has been said that Pakistan's intelligence service, in creating a constellation of terrorist training centers in the northern areas of Pakistan, created two fundamental movements of terrorists and their training camps. One, Lashkar-e-Taiba, trained as many as 500,000 terrorists in fairly competent weapons use, and such graduates attacked Mumbai and killed 163, 185 people, something like that. Pakistan's ISI, the intelligence service, is said to have considered its jihadist movement for Afghanistan as more successful than that of the war over Kashmir with India. And actually that's part of the long-range problem, is Pakistan's relationship with India over Kashmir, which has headwaters in many important rivers, and it's an important little part of the world, and has nearly been the source of nuclear wars. I've been reading a book by Shadow War, The Untold Story of Jihad in Kashmir, by Arif Jamal from 2009. That's interesting, and it gives me pause to think about destruction, things like the WTC and such in 9/11, which was a jihadist kind of activity, and American policy in the long run in Afghanistan and Pakistan and that part of the world doesn't seem to be up to speed. But I have a bit of a reading from a science fiction book, Alterwall Objectives, that I wrote about the destruction of a history tower on Mars. And Americans tend to respond to these things kind of proximally and then react in certain ways. But we can see a philosophical review of the destruction of a history tower at a University of Mars campus in this reading. Patrick Voivoda left the ruins of the history tower, disappointed after searching for survivors. No radiation was present either. It was a clean blast. The scene remained flooded with emergency and forensic personnel until midnight. Emmanuel, Patrick said to the shorter, rotund cleric, it's simply what is. Now, it wasn't in existence yesterday, and now with dusk the explosion is gone. In hours, flood lamps will be switched off, the crime scene sealed for investigation, and anon, day will reclaim a non-event, the calm which is history. Ruins of the history tower will resume a state of normalcy as the way things are for new days. What power have we to change history, Emmanuel? History and all that we do is nothing by time and mass. Time and mass is the silent emptiness of all it is, that which is what it is for itself. It is a stasis of non-being, consuming all that we do, and yet is the support of everything. Mass, time, motion is never what it was. As Martin Heidegger wrote, being is becoming. History is an oblivion that is like an apparition even as it occurs. The present is ever becoming obliterated. Yet how could one travel from one mass, time, space, motion to another if the past moment at another place continued to be? How could anyone be in all times at once without being substantially different physically or psychologically than people presently are? Time is creative destruction in alterity. I wonder how it matters what choices we make or what we do, as the inevitable, insatiable, indifferent ocean of non-being envelops what was, even to the shore of now, a smooth obliteration of the present and the persistence of forms and the material from now, the present and the futures passed into an ever-new presentness. The physical structures, and of course people, Emmanuel, like Barton, are in existence as the present mass, motion, and space-time, then suddenly gone, even like their own prior self-presentnesses were annihilated until the last complete erasure. The present has again covered over everything that was with a shape-altering insistence. Our memories don't change as fast as the physically external, Emmanuel. What we thought, the people we knew, the life we experienced remains nearly as it is and was until even our remembrances change and are at last cut off from the past presentness of experiencing and submerged into some future present. Our memories remain mostly as a portrait of much of the life that was, as we knew it. That awareness in itself somehow displaces us from immersion in the compresence of now, which is itself as fleeting as the meadow frost on grass on a clear spring morn. We move on from our memories to work that now is, and add it to wisdom, a function for memories and experience apart from being an historical archive. The very isolation of ourselves from other people in existence is underscored by the isolation we have individually from the past. In the constant passage of time, our isolation from the past and private individual memories compels us to be aware of our limited time in a private world of experience in the universal mass motion time-space. Where is Barton now, Emmanuel? He died, of course, and will be in the otherness of heaven, Patrick. Existential linguistic paradigms. For us, he is dead. It is the fellow whom we knew as Barton Freewater no longer is a substantive probability of our present futuring experience. He is gone, unavailable. Emmanuel replied quietly, the future is an existential linguistic paradigm. Resurrection is outside of mass motion, time, space, universe, and is as good a non-sensory referent as any. Kant wrote about sense data knowledge, synthetic judgments, and a priori judgments, but left out non-contingent knowledge originating from God, such as the Bible. Synthetic judgments are similar to W.V.O. Quine's extensional knowledge, or those scientific judgments made upon empirically sensed data. A priori reference, such as pure geometry, are similar to intentional knowledge or knowledge that is essentially psychological or made without just empirical reference. Kant questioned the validity of inferences not made about strict sense data reference. Quine did the same. Hume said to burn every book that is in strictly sense data observations as metaphysical rubbish. Paradoxically, he denied cause and effect, as they would be intentional or psychological judgments. In that regard, he was somewhat of an existentialist, which in turn is something like the idealism of Bishop Berkeley, or a non-reductionist unified field theory able to include itself. The nature of sense data is rather for itself. Intentional psychological inferences about it are our own paradigms about our own experience of the phenomena of existence. Cause and effect are two of those synthetic a priori judgments about sense data that have no ultimate foundation beyond our own human invention of them. Sartre was a rationalist, Patrick, in the tradition of Rene Descartes. He observed his own mind, his own thoughts, what he thought about his own thoughts, and what he thought about the world. J.P. Sartre tried to use rational first principles in describing epistemological experience, that is, what he knew, how he knew it, and the nature of first-person certainty about anything. The first principle, which Descartes wrote about in the Meditations, is the fact that he had to rely on his own mind as the foundation of the perception of anything. We can make dead reckoning judgments about matters we don't immediately experience in the present. We can trust the Word of God. And that's where I have to leave off on this excerpt. And I wanted to say again about American policy and our reactions to challenges from Pakistan and their fundamentalist, more turf-oriented, religious, football-like scrums for turf and power don't require us to have a large standing army, and we don't need to defeat ourselves. We need, through fighting our own country with external proletariats, or by having a large conventional military to defend against a large foreign conventional military threat, which really substantively doesn't exist now.